Hey, it's been a while since I made a tier list, and seeing how my last tier list was all about ranking torture methods of cute fictional creatures, I figured a reasonable return to my roots would be to rank various things in a game where you, torture cute fictional creatures? Is that right? Anyways, this is not a... Wait, are you balancing that TV remote on your head? This is not a torture tier list, you sickos, but this is the only Palworld tier list you'll ever need. Let's get started. First on the list, we have Lamball. Lamball is one of the first pals you encounter at the start of the game. It's not very powerful, but it does produce wool and looks very nice as a hat. B tier. Next up on the tier list, we have this tier list of all the pals in the game. I think there's no argument that Depresso should be on top and everything else doesn't really matter. The only exception I made was for Hang You, which I will explain shortly. Overall, I think this is a great tier list, and for that reason, I will list this tier list on the Depresso tier list tier on the tier list. Moving on, pal descriptions. Yikes. Has anyone been reading these? I feel like I haven't seen much online regarding these descriptions, but they are wild. For example, Killamari. It wraps itself around an enemy's head, sucking out their insides. Pal mummies are occasionally found, but these are in fact Killamari victims. Gumos. It gradually loses strength if it has nothing to cover its body with, eventually rotting away. That might be the saddest thing ever. Teefant. Large amounts of water pour from what is thought to be its nose, though some may say it is in fact just snot. Hangyu. Its gigantic arms can rip apart even iron. As a particularly cruel form of execution, serious criminals would be strung up in a public square, and Hangyu would tear the skin right from their bones. Let me tell you something. When I was little, my biggest fear was that girl from The Ring coming out of my TV. Not anymore. Now my biggest fear is a Hangyu ripping my skin off. S tier descriptions. Next we have pals getting stuck in trees. I can't count how many times this has happened to me. Get back to work. D tier. Climbing. If you're in your own game by yourself, climbing is pretty good. It works. It's just like Zelda in the sense that you can climb anything you want as long as you have enough stamina. But dear God, if you are in someone else's multiplayer game, then save yourself the frustration and just get a flying mount, because climbing in a multiplayer game is buggy as all hell. I'm gonna put that in C tier until it gets fixed. Staying on the topic of traversal, how about slide gliding? Slide gliding is cool because you can slide and then you glide. And to be honest, this is faster than most mounts if you have a nice sexy downward slope in front of you. B tier. Next up is overworking a pal until it develops an ulcer, then butchering it for food and feeding it to other pals to teach them a lesson on why they should always be working at 110% because they're all expendable and can be replaced in an instant. S tier. Boss fights. These are pretty sick. I can tell they really put effort into making these unique. They're nowhere near, say, Elden Ring boss level. Not that anyone was really comparing this game to Elden Ring, but it surely is a refreshing take on the, do I dare say, Pokemon-style boss fights. And with more development time, I can see them only getting better in the future. S tier. Alright, now we have this little clip I made of two pals on a Zoom call. I like to imagine they're talking about important business stuff over at their company, PayPal. Or Palmart. Or how about, Apple? Okay, that's enough. Microsoft. The carrying weight of wood and stone, and or just your carry weight in general, I guess. Early game, this is the most annoying thing. Always having to dump your resources into your bins because carry weight is too low to carry more than one stone and one tree worth of items. It forces you into putting points into carry weight, which isn't a bad thing. I understand we need some resource management in a survival game, but I feel like they could tone it down a little. Let me know if you feel the same way, but that's my opinion. Maybe I just need to stop being a bitch. D tier. Sorry, Fwack. They literally just named a pal and threw an A in there. B tier. Speaking of Fwack, next up we have Fwacking a Lamball until they cream us. Wait, that's not, I don't know who, Okay, now we have this Rushor in a hot spring. This is just great and will surely make us all forget about that last thing, whatever that was. S tier. This is the point where I tell you about today's sponsor. It's me, I'm the sponsor. Finding the perfect spot for your base. Always a satisfying part of survival games. Whether you found the perfect spot by exploring the map yourself or looking up a guide online, it's just great to know that your main base of operations has a steady income of all the resources you need. Or maybe you just found a spot with a beautiful view. That's good too. B tier. Sitting in a chair when there is no chair there. I'm the avatar, so this kind of makes sense for my character, but for anyone else, it's an odd emote for them to have added. But video games are silly, so I approve. Another B tier. Lifting up pals is one of my favorite things to do in this game. They all become limp and dead while you're holding them, and you can pick up any pal you want no matter how big or small. S tier. The world in this game is actually enormous. Look away for a few seconds right now if you don't want spoilers regarding the map size, but here is IGN's interactive Palworld map. I've barely made it beyond the initial few islands, so I can't even imagine what lies beyond that. One criticism I have is that the world does feel slightly empty, but once again, I haven't ventured too far yet. Although there are a lot of Lift Monk effigies to find, dungeons to explore, and various points of interest and pals to find along the way, just something about it feels like there could be a little more. To be fair, once again, it is still early access and everything they do have in the world is already great. And although I have these personal criticisms, I'm still going to put the map in S tier because I can see them adding so much down the road with this already gigantic world. Next up, accidentally throwing a pal sphere. This sucks and I hate it. It's my own fault, but I do it all the time and then it doesn't let you pick them back up. Stupid fingers hitting the wrong buttons. D tier. T-Fint. This is a very cute little elephant-like pal that is a decent early game healer. Activate its ability and it'll give you a refreshing spray of clean water that heals you up. B tier. Wait, though some may say it is in fact just snot. Maybe we'll move that down one. We haven't even gotten to the guns yet. Arguably the most intriguing part of this game. You can give this squirrel an SMG and he will sit on your head and fire alongside you, or you can give this monkey an AK-47 and he will just start blasting.
I started blasting. Bang!
My favorite one so far is this RPG that launches your penguin pals. Unfortunately, the penguins do not survive the explosion and will need to be revived at the pal box, but points to the devs for immersion. S tier. Another huge selling point for Palworld is the mounts. You can ride so many different pal in this game, and surprisingly, they all feel quite a bit different. For example, this Deer is great at taking out pals on land and has decent speed and a dash, while this Nightwing can fly high in the sky and help you traverse the world, unless it runs out of stamina. I also have this giant Grintail and this Melpaca, who is basically useless. S tier mounts. And last on the tier list, we have capturing a human. This is not good. One, because they aren't even good workers. They barely do shit.
I don't want to work.
And two, capturing a human and using them for labor against their will is surprisingly not a good thing to do. Oh, also, you can pet them? What the f? And there we have it. This is our officially unofficial Palworld tier list. If you'd like to see more of this content, please subscribe to my channel. Also, please check out my TikTok where I post short videos that I sometimes do not post on my YouTube. I also have Twitter/X if you want to tweet at me about how this is your favorite Palworld video or how bad it is. I appreciate all the support, and until next time. I figured a reasonable return to my roots would be a right shit. But this is the only Palworld tier list you will ever need. Fuck. It forces you into putting points into carry weight. Another huge selling point for Palworld. Fuck. You can give this squirrel an SMB. That's not right. We haven't even gotten to the guns yet.